And we're back. How you doing, everybody? We're back for the final hour of trading this afternoon here with Uncle Bruce, Stock Markets with Bruce channel. Welcome, everybody, to my show this afternoon session. We got the last hour of the day and the first hour of the aftermarket today. We're going to try to follow everything and see what's going on. What is happening out there? The GameStop is 178.50. It's been flatlining virtually the entire time I've been off the air here. I think it hit a low in this, I don't know what it was, 170 something somewhere. Where was that? Here we are right here. It kind of got down to about 176, maybe 175, around 11:20 Eastern. And then it peaked out for a moment at 184.50 or so, 184.40, around 12:55 Eastern. And now it's meandering along as low as 176 the last few minutes to 179 right now. You tell me what it's doing. Not a lot of volume. I'll tell you that for sure. What it's not doing. Not a lot of volume today. 8.2 million shares. So quiet. I just heard something really interesting, though. I wanted to talk to you guys about. I know that you guys love a good story, and I thought I would mention this. Folks are piling in here. 700 of you now. Come on in, folks, and I'll fill you in on this latest story. Well, before I do that story, just to update all of you, we're up 115, up 115 on the Dow. Yay, that's the high of the day. Right on. S&P virtually flat. It's like almost unchanged. And then NASDAQ is down 84 points, which is, again, nothing much to worry about. It's rather quiet day there. Oil is up 56 cents. I just heard and watched a really interesting interview here in Canada on our, what we call our Business News Network channel, which is kind of a combination of Business News Network and Bloomberg. And a writer for Bloomberg was on as a guest. Ryan, thank you for this donation. A Bloomberg writer was on as a guest, and they were talking about this hedge fund that blew up, that got sold out of all of its positions the other day. Archegos, I think it's called Archegos. And I mentioned on this morning's show how there were block trades being, huge blocks of stock were being offered for sale by various brokers around the world of various stocks, starting as early as last Wednesday, but really picking up on Thursday and then on Friday. And there was a full-blown liquidation of stocks being arranged by a number of brokerage houses. And when the dust settled Friday night and over the weekend, it seems that Credit Suisse is out maybe $1 billion, and that Nomura, the bank in Japan, is out about $2 billion, or the other way around. One is out one, one's out two. But anyway, those are not confirmed, but they're pretty accurate. Anyway, it's a lot of money, all right? And I'm sure there are a bunch of others that are out or yet do not know how much they're going to be out, because apparently the margin call was rather large and the sellout was rather severe, and some of the shares involved got hit pretty hard. If you're a member of this channel, you've received an alert in the last half an hour, 45 minutes regarding some of that info. But what I wanted to tell all of you guys was this unbelievable thing I just heard. And it is unbelievable, and then it's not unbelievable, and then it is unbelievable. So bear with me while I fill you in on this. If you watch the movie The Big Short, talking about the guys who bet against the housing market in 2008 and 9, and they were sitting on credit default swaps, betting against the mortgage packages that were out there, expecting massive collapse of the housing market, and they were right. At the end of the movie, they were right. If you watch that movie, you began to notice as the movie went on and on and on that the losses being incurred by the mortgage companies that were writing shaky mortgages, the banks that were accepting shaky mortgages, the hedge funds that were buying these shaky mortgages, the losses were ridiculous. And then what we really found out that really shook up the financial world was how many insurance payoffs had to be made to guarantee these AAA so-called investments that weren't AAA at all, and how billions in losses turned into tens of billions in losses, or hundreds of millions turned into tens of billions of losses. I mean, the amplification was just out of sight. And so the U.S. regulators had to step in, and the U.S. Congress had to step in, and there was a $700 billion bailout put together to save the financial system, which many of you do not know, especially if you're young, actually saved the U.S. economy and the world economy from complete collapse. It could have taken 10 years to come out of this absolute mess that would have been created everywhere. I mean, no ATMs would have spit out cash, even if you were owed money in your bank account, because there was no cash in the system. It was that close. It was mere hours, days away. Books have been written. Books are still being written. The analyzation of this thing continues to this day, 13 years later. In any event, I heard something just a few minutes ago that just kind of brought it all back. And that was that this particular author had just written an article on Bloomberg today, was talking about this Archegos hedge fund that got into all kinds of trouble. Apparently, they had $4 billion of their own money in their fund. They had $4 billion of their money in their fund, and then they were borrowing money from banks and other players to leverage up their portfolio. And I thought that, well, that the Swiss bank lost $1 billion and Nomura lost $2 billion or whichever that was. So, maybe they were leveraged up to 10 or 15 billion or something, and there was $3 billion in losses. No. They were leveraged up to $120 billion. They had $4 billion of their money, and they owed $120 billion to all these banks around the world, including some of the Wall Street big boys. We're talking about a 30-to-1 leverage rate starting at $4 billion. And I want to kind of staring at you. I'm trying to get your attention here. I gotta come in because this is serious stuff. I'm trying to tell you guys. All right. The stock market is trillions of dollars, okay? It really is. There's trillions of dollars in the market. There's trillions in the bond market. The world economies are, $50 trillion. There's lots. But there are entities out there like hedge funds and other players who will use every trick in the book to try to leverage themselves up for the big payoff, because people are greedy, okay? You probably know some personally. People are greedy and they're looking for the shortcut payoff. And you get some of these guys who only have $4 billion who are trying to trade against the big boys out there who have 50 billion or 100 billion under administration. And they really do have that money. It's not, they don't borrow any of it. There are pension funds sitting on $600 billion, $800 billion. Some have $1 trillion. So some of these little guys try to play with the big boys, and they try to play against them, or they try to play in the same arena. They don't belong there. And what they're doing is that they're figuring out ways to leverage up their accounts, and they're in effect using one bank against another bank for leverage. And so they'll try to borrow, 500 million from these guys, and then say over to these guys over here, well, these guys are lending us 500 million. Why don't you lend us 500 million? And then when they get that, they go to bank number 3 and say, well, if you want to be the big boy here, why don't you lend us $1 billion? And then they talk about how they're managing $10 billion. And then a month or two later, they're managing $18 billion. And they're borrowing $2 billion here, $500 million. There are hundreds of banks, if not dozens to hundreds of banks, all the way up to $120 billion of leverage. It's unbelievable, and they're playing options, they're playing derivatives, they're playing futures, they're into everything and anything. They're all over the place, and they're trying to show power and assets under administration beyond what they're actually able to handle and what they really have as far as their own capital is concerned. So they mask the fact that they have no money, that they're borrowing everyone else's to play the game. And what they are doing is they try to hire the top money managers or traders they can get, Wall Street all-stars who have had a real good track record of 15-year careers at Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or elsewhere, to help manage their assets. And they show these guys, you're going to run a $30 billion portfolio. You're going to run a $20 billion portfolio. You're going to run $16 billion. They piece this off to 4 or 5, 6 different all-star traders to try to show the street just how sophisticated and solid these guys are. When in reality, when you break it down and you get down into the absolute nickels and dimes of it, they have no money. They have virtually no money. It's all leveraged money. One fatal mistake, one wrong move, and the house of cards begins to implode on itself. And I'm asking you guys out there, this was the first one that just went on Friday. Are there any others? We're in an all-time high market, okay? These guys are managing $120 billion at a market that's near its all-time high. Interest rates are next to zero. Inflation is very low. Bankers are flush with cash. It's easy to borrow. If these guys can't make it in this kind of environment, what's going to happen a year from now, 2 years from now, if we get into 4 or 5% on inflation, interest rates go to 3-4%, which is not even normal. Normal interest rates are 5-6%. We don't even get back to normal, and we're going to have other nightmares showing up. And are these guys leveraged as well? 30 to 1, 20 to 1, 40 to 1, 50 to 1. How many nightmares are out there right now? And I keep coming back to this, how brokerage firms are making a living, a lot of good money. Order flow, pay for order flow. As long as you can trade the stock, you can make a nice buck as a broker to accept the trades. But this failure to deliver securities rule, I keep coming back to this one. I can't let this one go. I keep wondering and I keep worrying that is there a possibility that there could be collectively trillions of dollars of stock globally not being delivered on time by sellers because they don't have it. They're trading stock they haven't got, and somehow they're being allowed to enter orders through these brokerage links that they've got, which again is a mystery to me. I don't know how it is, but there's got to be a simple explanation. There's got to be a bit of a shell game going on where a firm shows another firm, a hedge fund shows a brokerage firm that they have stock in an account and they want to sell it. And the house goes, okay, I will sell it for you. We love the commission. And so they sell stock, but then they call 4 other brokers, show them the same stock position and sell it 4 times over, but they don't have it because they're short over here in Germany, or they're short over here in England, or they're short in another jurisdiction, millions of shares of the same company. They have some stock in one place, but they're using that stock 4 times over to sell it again and again and again. And then there's this failure to deliver nonsense going on. And then they're buying stock back and selling stock, and they're just rolling over these positions, trying to delay the inevitable that the emperor has no clothes. And I keep asking myself, on a stock like GameStop, could that be happening here on GameStop right now? Could that be going on GameStop? Is that why there are 200 plus million shares floating around out there on GameStop all the time? Why is that? And other stocks, I'm sure it's the same thing. If any of you want to take the time and do a Google search for the top 50 companies on the S&P 500, how many shares are supposedly out there by the company's own admission? We have this many shares in existence, and then you try to tally up how many shares actually are trading out there between all the mutual funds, hedge funds, ETFs, index funds, hedge funds, all these reporters. You add up all the stuff they supposedly have, and then the short position that's supposedly out there, and you do the math. You're going, there's way more stock out there than it's supposed to be. And is this happening again and again and again and again? And we're not talking about $1 stock where there's 5 extra million shares out there. It's a $5 million problem. We're talking about GameStop at $178.88. Are there 100 million shares out there that shouldn't be out there? If it's 1 million shares of GameStop that shouldn't be out there, that's a $178 million problem. If there's 10 million shares of GameStop out there shouldn't be out there, it's a $1.7 billion problem. If there's 100 million shares out there, it's a $17.8 billion problem on GameStop. It's not a S&P 500 company. It's not one of the most valuable 800 company. I don't know where it ranks, but it's not in the top 500. So the question I have is, what about all these FANG stocks and other stocks that we take for granted just stock just trades because there's a lot of stock to trade? Are there positions being carried by brokers when you add them all up across the hundreds of different brokerage houses around the world, around the planet, and with all these hedge funds trading everywhere and borrowing money from everywhere and leveraging from everywhere? Are we talking about a multi-trillion-dollar deal here that's about to implode, or that could possibly implode? Might not implode today, but it's being carried and it's being maintained by these players. And as long as the volume is up and as long as the stock keeps trading along, as long as these trades are allowed to complete, nothing happens until brokerage house number 1 says no more. Because we, as broker number 1, are doing the mathematics, and our capitalized value as a brokerage company is $20 billion, and our clients' accounts are worth $2 trillion, and we're carrying paper. We're holding the bag on paper we haven't been able to deliver that's worth more than what our firm is worth. Are we potentially on the hook for this whole thing? And could we be somehow caught with our insurance company saying, we're not guaranteeing your debts if you guys get caught on this failure to deliver? You should have known better. You're breaking covenants of the insurance agreement we have. In effect, brokerage houses out there go, oh my God, we're on the hook for $100 billion more than we're capitalized for. And the first firm puts the word out to their most leveraged accounts that they want the paper, or you got to buy the paper back to cover up your position. Now, those who are long stock, that's good news, because there's a demand for paper that you've never seen happen before on anything that's out there that's shorted illegally or is artificially short. On GameStop, it is profound. It's a 3-for-1 ratio that would be just beyond belief for all of us. But many of you out there have been saying, no, this is not beyond the belief for all of us. This is exactly what it is. It's been this way the whole time, but the street has been ignoring this whole thing. This little Archegos thing, this little hedge fund that just blew up on Friday, is this the tip of the iceberg that is so huge, that is so breathtakingly scary, that no regulator wants to go on camera and even talk about this right now, because they're afraid that if the rumor mill begins and the investigation begins and the deep analytics of the deep what's the word I'm looking for, the forensic accounting, if the deep forensic accounting is launched by the Justice Department, the SEC, other regulators, if that banking regulators, if this happens, that they will uncover, they'll open the lid to this box and look into this snake pit that is just unimaginably crazy, because some don't know what others are up to. And now we're realizing, oh my gosh, there are banks around the world that are so exposed to this kind of chicanery that they're unaware that they're part of this massive scheme to defraud, or to, in effect, run the market the way they're running it in such a leveraged way that they can't imagine they're part of it, that they actually are caught in this trap. This is what I'm wondering about. And I'm waiting for the first brokerage house to step back and go, we can't keep up this business anymore. We can't keep doing business as usual. We have got to cut back. And I'm wondering who will be the first house to step it back and force clients to flatten out. And when will the first, when could it be that one of the big houses steps in and says, same here, we're done with this game too? This is what I wonder about. I'm trying not to worry about it, but I can't not worry about it because it just won't go away. And I'm wondering if the problem is bigger than the housing crisis back in 2008. That's what I'm trying to get into your folks' heads there, because I'm trying to let you in on how bad could this really be. And if it is a 30-to-1 leverage or worse across the board with hundreds of hedge funds that are, $500 million to $5 billion to $8 billion each of their own money, and then 30-to-1 on top of that exposure, or 40-to-1 or 50-to-1 leverage between all these banks globally that don't know the other guys on the hook for the same thing that they're on the hook for. That's what I'm wondering about. It could be just that simple a situation. It's not anything really complex. It's just that this one lender or these borrowers have found a way to borrow money again and again and again on the same asset from a bunch of lenders that have no idea that that's what they're caught into. I wonder. And I don't know. This is so scary. I mean, it is just so absolutely wild that this could be happening. I really am wondering, what are we sitting on here? And are we sitting on a market that has a certain $1 trillion value, but there are just 200% too many shares out there? And by the time you restrict the stock and reallocate the dough, you're moving money from people who have shorted stock to people who are long stock and reducing the number of shares that are in play. will the Dow actually go up to 50,000? And so on the surface, everything looks fantastic. The Dow's at 50,000 instead of 33,000. Oh, this is great. The S&P, instead of being at 3,900, is actually at 4,200 or 5,800. And the NASDAQ, instead of being at 13,000, is 20,000. Everyone, who can't complain about that? And GameStop shareholders are sitting on, instead of a GameStop shares trading at $178 or $180 a share, are trading sitting on stock that's trading at $400, $500, $600 a share. Great. But in the meantime, a whole bunch of hedge funds went under, and a whole bunch of banks are exposed to unbelievable losses. And now they got to call in loans to bring in capital. And that means stocks have to now be sold. Now the Dow goes down, and down goes the S&P, and down goes the NASDAQ. You cannot carry artificial gains without real dollars behind it. And if the leverage has to go from 30 or 40 to 1 back to 5 to 1 or 6 to 1 or 4 to 1, if the leverage have to be brought in by half, 3/4, that wipes out a lot of value because it's all created by thin air. You cannot borrow money on the same asset. You can't have a mortgage on your house with this banker and then another mortgage for the same amount with that banker, and because these bankers going, no, you can only have one mortgage on your house. You can't have 5 first mortgages on one house. There's only one house. We don't lend on 4 pretend houses, but is that what's happening right now in the stock market? I'm trying to make this as simple as I can to you guys. Car loans, you drive a car, but you got 5 car loans. One you use to buy the car. The other loans, you just use the money to do something else with it. And the H banker who lent you the money on the car thinks that they have a loan on your car. But there's only one banker with a loan on your car. The others have no loan on anything. They're lending you money for out of pure speculation. Is this what's going on here? Is this what happened with this player? It looks like it might have happened with that player to a certain degree, and now I'm wondering, oh man, if this outfit can go 30 to 1 leverage and they only got $4 billion, just mind-numbing to me, only $4 billion. How bad is the rest of the problem? And we're all, everyone in the market is watching. Is there another shoe falling around here? Are there any stocks falling off the map right now that we have to worry about? I don't know, guys. I'd love to get your thoughts on that. Anyway, it is terrifying. If you take a look at that movie, The Big Short, you might have to watch it a couple of times to kind of get the handle on what happened here. I found it a really well-made movie, a very well-acted movie, and they took the time to explain to you what the heck was happening at that moment in time in a unique way. They had a unique way of telling you what was going on. But at the end of the movie, the Steve Carell figure was sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars of gains as a winner because he bet against the market, and he was sick about it because he realized that his gains, which were just a sliver of all the gains made by the whole industry that was betting against the housing market, he realized that he had just bet against the American economy and American people, and a lot of people were homeless. And he didn't make them homeless. He got rich because people had loans that shouldn't have had loans. And institutions were issuing loans that shouldn't have been issuing loans because they wanted to get into the game. They wanted to be part of the business because they felt they were missing out on something phenomenal, which it wasn't. I'm wondering, are we in that again? Because these institutions just cannot seem to learn their lesson to stop leveraging up their games on the next blow up. It's just mind-numbing to me. I've heard that the car loans out there, there were a lot of people out there in 2009, 10, 11, 12 who were sucked in to these lines of credit / car loan deals that turned out to become, in effect, Ponzi schemes where people were getting loans that shouldn't have been getting loans for any reason whatsoever. And they were in effect being allowed to buy a car with nothing down, just an autograph, and they were signing off on loans that were going to cost them 18, 22% interest on a used car, 5-year-old used car that was worth maybe $6,000. And they would buy the car for $7,000 plus these ridiculous interest rates. By the time they paid off the loan in 5 years, if they could pay it off, they were paying off $25,000 for a $6,000 car. That would be worth $1,000 at the end of the 5-year loan because now it's a 10-year-old car. There's millions of them out there like this. There's millions of these deals out there like this right now. And the used car market is absolutely rife with all kinds of abuse of people who were in real trouble and needed a vehicle to try to get by. And they're now driving these 7 and 8 and 9-year-old wrecks, making payments on them, unbelievable, and they can't get out from underneath them because the asset, the car, has no value. Even if you sold the car for $1,000, you still owe $6,000 on the car, or $4,000 on an original $6,000 loan. You still owe $4,000 on it. You'll never pay this thing off. It was just insanity. And if you missed a few payments, they would take the car away from you, and then you have penalty payments to get the car back. It was just rife for abuse. So these loans were packaged together as full-blown investment swaps and sold to Wall Street. And Wall Street was financing these like you can't believe 2 to 3 years after the housing crash. This went on again, all over again. And new car companies are desperately trying to sell new cars to people, but they can't because they can't find people with credit good enough to lend to. Those who have good credit don't need a loan for an entire car. They only need a loan for partially a part car because they've got a $15,000 trade-in perhaps, and they're getting a $45,000 new car. They only need a $30,000 loan. These car companies were desperately trying to move product. The folks who could afford these folks at the bottom of the list who were able to pay $200 a month payments, theoretically they could have financed a new car for 7 or 8 years, but they're not eligible to borrow because their credit rating is too low, and yet they can pay a payment. And so they're stuck with 3 to 5-year-old cars instead of brand new cars under warranty and all this sort of stuff. It's a scary, scary world out there. And now we're hearing this one hedge fund blowing up, and I'm wondering, is this the first of many? We know that hedge funds are regulated in the United States. They're they have to pass certain auditing tests and all that. But there are third world countries with hedge funds. There are other countries out there with hedge funds with secrecy laws where you can't really look into them as deeply as you'd like to. And this is where all kinds of shuffling of the deck can take place. And this is what I wonder about. I mean, are there offshore islands, offshore banking centers where these hedge funds have set up shop and they're hiding their nightmares over there, but showing off this gleaming office tower over here? Everything's fine over here. Don't look over here in this country. Just look over here in this country with what we got over here. We got a beautiful portfolio, and they're borrowing again and again and again off of this gleaming tower that they keep creating. And then they're adding this cash to their existing 20 to 1, 25 to 1, 30 to 1 leverage. And then sooner or later, there's a blow up, and oh my gosh, it's all over. I ask you, I don't know. All right. So we'll watch it. That's all we can do. I'll try to look for evidence of this stuff, but boy, these guys are so slick, so good at moving problems. In a nanosecond, you can move problems. Because remember, stock certificates don't exist anymore. In the old days, you used to get a guy with a suitcase, excuse me, an attaché case. Let me clarify that. The old days, you had a guy with an attaché case and a private jet, and they would fly from New York to the Cayman Islands or to Nassau or to another offshore banking area, and they would get off the private jet, get into a private vehicle that would be waiting for them, be taken to an offshore bank, and they would deliver stock certificates as collateral for a loan. And they would then walk out with either a wire transfer would be done from that bank to wherever they wanted it to go, or they would literally walk out with cash, and the attaché case would have a whole bunch of cash in it, and then that jet would then land wherever it's going to land with the guy with the suitcase, private car waiting for him with armed security guards taking him to wherever he's got to go with his money. And so these couriers, we used to go around moving physical cash and certificates. Doesn't exist anymore. It's all digital. It's all clickety click. And so you can't track these guys with jet movements anymore. You can't track these guys by having people with binoculars at airports watching jet number so-and-so just landed, this Lear jet with tail number so-and-so on it. Yeah, we know who these guys are. Yeah, this is so-and-so. Now it's all clickety click on the computer, and it's in a nanosecond. And you can take money and shift it to 15 jurisdictions in 5 seconds. It's all gone now. It's all out there. And the same with stock and assets. And this world is as convenient as that world is for us, it can also be utilized in a bad way. in an evil way. And now we're looking at the Dow at 33,246, an all-time high. Is it real or is it Memorex? How much of this index is really there, and how leveraged is this index right now? How leveraged are the securities held by investors in the Dow, the S&P 500, NASDAQ? How much actual hardcore cash is represented in these certificates, these electronic certificates, and how much is borrowed? And is it possible that some of the stock that's inside these indices has been borrowed upon 4, 5, or 8 times, and the leverage has been made to an unbelievable amount? Most of you out there, if you're opening up an account with Robinhood or Fidelity or Schwab and you want to buy and sell stock, you might be offered a 50% margin, for example. You can buy, say, you got $1,000 of your money in there, you can buy up to $2,000 in stock. Some of you might have more than that. Some of you might have less than that. It all depends on what it is you're trying to acquire. These hedge fund guys don't have 1-for-1. No. They get much better than that. They're encouraged to trade more because they're coming in the front door with at least $500 million or $1 billion. And so these brokerage houses and bankers are rubbing their hands going, yeah, let's leverage you up. And as long as you can pay the interest on this loan, it's current in my books. I have an asset. Even though you owe us $1 billion, as long as you keep those interest payments current, we have a $1 billion asset that is performing for this institution. And that institution is looking for 500 other clients that can do this $1 billion at a time, $500 billion of performing assets. Fantastic, or more. And these groups have figured out ways to borrow from multiple bankers all over the place. And that allows them to leverage up. They don't have the account, all the money in one place. They don't trade their stock portfolio out of one brokerage house. They've got 40 brokerage houses around the world that they trade at. And they're coordinating it all from their, central wherever, and they've got their software systems on their computers to buy or short whatever they want to be playing with to try to make more money with their money. That's what it's all about. And these guys get paid a percentage of the gains. And so they're motivated to trade, motivated to take risks, motivated to, be the guys who make the big score. And GameStop is a motivator to a lot of players out there because of its volatility lately and its movement. Some are convinced it's a one-way trade on the way down. Others are convinced it's a one-way trade on the way up. And then there are others out there going, I'm going to pick my spots on this thing because if there's ever a hedge fund out there that is super short too many shares of GameStop, they just got themselves into too deep a hole on the short side, we could squeeze these guys to oblivion through their broker. And the broker will buy them in whether they want to buy in or not and squeeze them. But if no one broker has the 5 million share position that they're short, they've got 20 brokers out there that each are short 250,000 shares. No one broker feels threatened because on their books going, we only have one client with 250,000 short, no big deal. They're maintaining the margin. We're fine. And that seems to be the deal, has seemed to be the deal lately, that the brokerage firms out there are going, we're not overexposed at all. No, because they've spread the butter out over the entire sandwich rather than in the middle of the bread. It's been spread out to every corner of the planet. And this risk issue, it's like a blanket of risk, not just a mountain of risk in one spot. And so no one person and no one regulator in one country sees the problem. Because the Germans don't have enough short stock in their jurisdiction. The French, the Italians, the Brits, Norwegians, the Russians, the Americans, the Canadians, wherever you can buy and sell stock around the world, which is everywhere. No regulator in the planet is showing any serious risk on the market because it's being spread out over such a wide range. And because the market is worth so many trillions of dollars, because it's inflated up, because stock prices are high, no regulator feels that they have a big problem because these so many billions of dollars that we have out here in short positions over the $1 trillion of value of the market, no big whoop. But if you add up all the jurisdictions and you do all the calculations, you kind of go, oh my gosh, listen to this. This is unbelievable amounts of money that have been shorted. Failure to deliver. Are we coming quickly into a bubble more scenario? Because if it's only $20 billion, that's one thing. But if it doubles, it's 40 billion. If it doubles, it's 80 billion. The next time it doubles, it's 160 billion. You keep doubling the problem every few weeks and months out as you keep expanding this game. You get to the point where it goes from 1 trillion to 2 trillion to 4 trillion to 8 trillion. It becomes a big problem, and it keeps growing out of control. You got to wonder when, how, what is this going to lead to? I'm just an old stockbroker trying to tell you how it used to be when I was in the business and how it is now and from where I see it. And this information that I really dug into this morning, for the first time I really paid attention to it was this morning, even though it happened on Friday. Now I'm hearing some deep dive facts that are just scary as get up. And this reminds me of 08 all over again. It's absolutely as scarily, is there such a word as scarily, leveraged as it was back then. I really wonder what's going on. I don't know. SEC just awarded $500,000 record reward to a whistleblower. Yep, I tell you guys, I don't know. Boldsworth, there are loans given that shouldn't be because of greed, but the real killer was the government forcing banks to loan to unqualified people. Well, again, there were mortgage companies back in 06, 7, and 8. There were people with 5 houses. They had one house and their mortgage was in good standing, and they had enough of a down payment for a second house. They got a second house with teaser loans and balloon payments at the end and all kinds of bells and whistles. And then the banks were calling these people up saying, you want to get a third house, you can use that one as a rental and income. And there were people flipping 5, 10 houses at a time. Were living in one and renting out 9, and they thought they had made it. This is the American dream. I'm catching all this rent money from these 9 houses, and I'm paying these mortgages down. And every month I'm getting richer because my mortgage balances keep dropping because I'm only paying a 2% interest rate for the first year of this deal, and then I roll over these teaser rates into new loans, or I flip the house after 2 years, and I get a new house to replace that house, and I got a new 2-year cheap interest rate deal. It's a game. It's a rollover game. And eventually the game stopped. The music stopped. The lights went on. There were 5 seats sitting in the middle of the floor, and there were 10 people going, 10 of us have to sit down. Only 5 of us can sit down. And it was all over, and it ended rather abruptly. Myrna, thank you for becoming a member of this channel. I'm glad you're here. Unbelievable is what it was. And there were leveraged bets on the whole thing to top it all off. And this is where it just became a massive nightmare in 08, 09. Here we are at 179.31, and GameStop's not going up. It's not going down. It's trading about 8-something million shares, wondering what's going on. I can't tell you. We're at 8.8 million shares today. That's where we are right now. And Wednesday, in 2 days, is the first quarter, the end of the first quarter. And a whole bunch of bankers, pension fund managers, mutual fund managers, hedge fund managers, all the employees of these hedge funds, the traders, the floor traders, the partners of these law firms, but partners of bankers, the big brokerage outfits, all are waiting for the end of the first quarter. And they're all wanting to have the right kind of price point for everything that they are involved with to be at the right spot so that they can make the report to their shareholders, investors, and backers, and to their lenders to let them know that the money you've lent me is all secure, everything here is fine. They all want to be in a good spot. And that's what was the plan over at Archegos, whatever that place was called, that hedge fund. Their plan too was to make it to the end of the quarter to maintain their $120 billion of loans on $4 billion in equity. And it didn't work. For them, it didn't work. They got caught out about 10 days too short. They just didn't quite make it to get through a quarter. And they may have gone another 30 days without being reviewed. It could well have been that there were bankers looking at their books in the last 2 to 3 weeks just to make sure that they were okay going into the end of the quarter so that they could report to their bosses that the money we lent these guys is okay. And someone figured out we're not okay. These guys are not okay. And a huge bunch of selling had to come in to unload risk. And it was more than the market could take. and stocks like Discovery and others took a dump, and a lot of money was lost by a lot of people other than this hedge fund, and there are banks caught short. So now we wait and to see this next couple of days what happens to tomorrow and the day after, because settlement from Friday's trade is tomorrow. Tomorrow is settlement day on Friday's trades. What's going to happen here? I don't know. This is a most interesting time, to say the least. Anyway, there you have it, guys. I'm trying to stay on top of this market for you, see what's going on. In plain English, 180.53 on GameStop. We have 21 minutes left in the day. Watching a commercial on CNBC. Dow up 164, 165. Looks like the high of the day right now for the Dow. S&P is up 6 points, and NASDAQ down 47. So the market is coming out of today fairly unscathed. No big problem here. Oil is up 58 cents. It's actually turned around despite the fact that the Suez Canal is open again. Apparently that ship has been moved. So 400 ships, including I don't know how many that are transporting oil, will be allowed to do what they do. Shouldn't be serious disruptions of oil flow to the consumer in Europe going forward, although I'm sure the price has gone up though over there, but I'm sure that'll not last too much longer. But oil is actually up 58 cents a barrel. So go figure. I find it quite amazing. GameStop just touched 181. There it is, 181.17 on GameStop. The high of the day, they say, was around 193 or so. But that was a brief moment about half an hour into the day. Couldn't hold it. It spiked and then backed off. It had been coming from about this 180-something range. Let me just double check here. The GameStop shares were kind of in the 186, 184 range, and they went precisely back to that 184.86 range right after the spike. And then they bottomed out at 178 and then popped back into the 182.84 range. No movement. I mean, we're talking $4 or $5. The whole day here, this stock is just not moving. It appears to be a $20 spread, but in reality, most of this stock has shifted between $6 and $8 all day long. That's all. That's all the movement today on GameStop, which is kind of a nice change in a roundabout way. The stock is much calmer, not being affected by massive attacks by short sellers. Maybe short sellers are afraid to try to borrow more money from their bankers right now, and they're just kind of holding their positions. I don't quite know. But we'll watch this, what's going on here. Yeah, there's an article out here asking, is it game over for GameStop after earnings? This is the question. Is a stock a buy after earnings, or is it a sell after earnings? It all depends on what your timing is, I guess. How long have you got? You going to stick around to wait and see the new directors that are going to be announced by the company? Is that part of it? By the way, Scott Coleman has sent me a donation today on PayPal, buddy. Thank you so much from London, the UK. Thank you, Scott, for your donation today. I really appreciate it on PayPal. As always, sir, you're more than welcome here always. What's your timing for your GameStop investment? Are you looking for a 1 hour flip? I can't help you. Are you looking for a 1 week wonder move? You might be pushing your luck. On the other hand, if you're going to stick around, wait for the company to make a couple of announcements, namely, are they going to come out maybe once a week with an announcement that we've nominated so and so to be on our board of directors, and then the next week we've nominated such and such to be on our board of directors, and then the next week we've nominated this? Are they going to play that game with us? That could be exciting, because if every week another big name or corporate connection name is brought forward to the marketplace of GameStop, that so and so from this company is going to join the board, such and such from that company is joining the board, that could get really interesting quickly. On the other hand, if they do like 4 and then a week later they do 4 more, well, that could still be pretty explosive. But then we have a few several weeks to wait before the annual meeting. But I guess you want to give the annual meeting enough time, the folks who are going to, quote, virtually attend it, enough time to consider these new directors and how they want to do it. They may just come out with a slate of 8 people and say, these are the 8 people we have approached who've agreed to serve as board of director members. We're nominating them to the shareholders. We want the shareholders to vote yes. That's what the management recommendation is. We'll vote these people in, and here they are. And then we can study who is who in the zoo here. and figure out, okay, we now see, oh, there's some Wall Street connection here. There's some perhaps, maybe some Microsoft exposure over here, or maybe some other exposure from another highfalutin company. Yeah, that could be pretty good. That's something we're going to definitely be looking into and waiting for to see if it's going to happen. Thank you, by the way, for all of you for being here today. 936 thumbs ups for this show so far. I appreciate that very much. We have 4,600 of you here. We only have 16 thumbs down, so that's fantastic to be so outnumbered between up and down. Keep those thumbs ups coming in, guys. Hit that thumbs up button for me, and let's get it to a couple of thousand. We should be there by now. Let's hope for the best. Maybe the thumbs ups today will move the market. Wouldn't that be great? 180.76, 181.08 on GameStop. Just hit 1,000 thumbs ups. We got 19 down. We're at a, what is that, 50-to-1 ratio? Fabulous. Thank you, everybody, for this very great sign of support. 1,100 thumbs ups now here, and they're coming in hot and heavy. Thank you very much. 1,200. There we go. We have 20 thumbs down, so we're 60-to-1 on the thumbs up, thumbs down ratio. Thank you for this. It means a lot to me, and it shows YouTube that, you know what, this kind of channel you can hang out at and feel welcome. And the trolls just aren't hanging around here anymore, which I hope is the case. I hope they're gone forever. Anyway, thank you, all of you who have come in here and have shown support to this this humble YouTuber. At least I hope you feel I'm humble. No more than 4 just made a donation. Thank you for the info. Thank you. I wanted to, I can't always give you happy news. I can't do that. It's just, I would be just not doing the right service. You have to know the ugly part of Wall Street, apart from the happy part of Wall Street. Making money is happy, but over leverage is not, and gaming the system is not. Having hedge funds that are over leveraged and hoodwinking bankers, not good stuff. This is compliance. This is called compliance. And I can tell you that when I was a branch manager and a VP of a brokerage house, it was drilled into us as management from the top guys and our lawyers. It's all about compliance. You've got to be on top of your clients because there are some bad people out there who are going to try some shenanigans. And sure enough, as an ex-broker, I sure saw it. I saw it with brokers sitting around me who were getting seduced by stock promoters, thinking they had themselves a brand new, fantastic client, and in reality, they were in effect being represented by a front man or a front woman of a promoter, and they had no idea that they were getting sucked in to buy all kinds of stock, and they were being talked into it to get all their other clients into this stock position. Next thing you know, this poor broker thought he had the world by the tail. He was buying stock at 50 cents to $1.50 to $2.50 a share, and he got his clients into the stock, and the stock went to $3.50 a share. And he was making more commissions than he ever thought possible. And the initial client would take delivery of their stock. I'll just send the stock to my lawyer's office. I've got to put it up as collateral for a loan. Oh yeah, no problem, whatever. Sending out stock to this so-called brokerage law office. Yeah, the stock would end up at the law office, and then it would immediately be put in an envelope to be picked up by this guy, who would then take it to another brokerage house, and he would be selling the stock over there back to the same guy that he's getting to suck into all his clients all into the deal. And so this guy's picking up more stock. What he doesn't know is he's buying the same stock that the guy bought through him at 50, 60, 80, $1, $20. He's now putting his customers in at $3.50 to $5 a share. And as soon as this promoter is out of his whatever number of shares he picked up, he doesn't call anymore, doesn't buy anymore. He's on a holiday. We went on a break to Europe for a couple of weeks, or he's in Hawaii for a couple of weeks. Doesn't call, and this broker's sitting around going, well, let's keep going. And the customers are calling him, what's happening? What's the latest news? And he's got no news, because the news used to come from the promoter, and the promoter used to give him all this hype that, this is coming and this is coming, and then it just stopped, and it was crickets. And then the shares started to slump. And the next thing you know, it got down to $2, and people wanted. He was getting sell-out phone call. I want to sell. I want to sell. I want out. And he had nowhere to. He couldn't sell to anybody. There was no market for the stock. He was the only buyer. There were other buyers, but they were pretend buyers. They just looked like there was activity. He was the sap, and within 6 months to a year, his account lost. His accounts, all of his accounts were down $500,000. And there was a promoter over here who just took this guy for $250,000 and never talked to him again. Welcome back. On Blue, Jack Wallace, thank you for becoming a member, and DK604, thank you for becoming a member of this channel. Appreciate this very much, you guys. And so, as branch managers, we were on the lookout for this kind of stuff because we would get our brokers, our young guys would come in so excited. I'd have a young guy come in with a brand new account application, and I just had lunch with this guy, and he was a referral from a client of mine, and he's a geologist with whatever, and he wants to put buy order in for some stock. He just gave me a check for $10,000. Want to open this account right away. We want to buy stock. And then about a week later, the client wants to convert his cash account to a margin account, and he wants to start buying stock on margin, and he drops off another $10,000, and then he's leveraging up the account with another $10,000 in debt. Next thing you know, you got a $40,000 account with $20,000 equity, $20,000 at risk, and this young guy is now buying up and telling his brokers all around him that this is a hot stock, it's really going, and all of a sudden half my office is buying into this stock. And we're looking at it. My compliance officer and I are looking at this company going, what is this thing? I've never heard of this company before. Well, what do they do? And we would just start making phone calls. We would start putting out feelers. I'd call branch managers of other houses going, have you heard of this stock? Are any of your guys into this? And once in a while I'd get a call back from a manager saying, hey, you know that stock you're asking me about the other day? Yeah, I just heard from a buddy of mine who has a broker, a friend of his in Vancouver, branch manager there. They lost $500,000 on that on a promotion. Same guys, not the same stock, but those names that you're talking about, those guys all had accounts all over here, and they sucked in a whole bunch of people on some gold mining thing 2 years ago, and we're still trying to track these guys down. Those are the guys you're dealing with right now in Calgary. They moved provinces, and you got them there. They're now your problem. And oh my gosh, we would be scrambling. My compliance officer, myself, the head of my cage, and we would be scrambling like crazy to make sure everyone was paid up in cash. We started restricting margin immediately, and then of course the promoter figured it out that we figured it out, and we would tell our broker, you may want to arrange to get this guy to transfer his account to somebody else. And the win for us would be if the promoters transferred their entire positions out with their debts, their assets and their debts, and the whole account would be shifted out to a brokerage house, whatever, and it would go somewhere else, and we would offload this nightmare. Sure enough, 3 months later, boom, the whole thing would implode, and there would be hundreds of thousands in losses incurred all over the place. And my brokers, who were looking at me like I was a tyrant for not allowing them to trade a hot trading stock, I put the boots to these guys, they would finally look at me and go, oh yeah, I guess you're right after all. And I go, yeah, because these IOUs that these brokers have in these other houses, those are now personal IOUs to those brokers owe their firms, their brokerage houses, the money. You guys would have owed us the money had you been taken for a ride by these guys. And they were going, oh my gosh, I would have owed my firm $80,000. I only make $40,000 a year. Yeah. How motivated are you to come to work for the next 2 years to take your entire paycheck and give it to me every month? How motivated are you? You'd have quit the business. You would have declared bankruptcy. You would have become a stiff. Unbelievable. I mean, the stories that they were exposed to in those days. This is the 70s, the 80s. This is the Wolf of Wall Street era that you folks saw in the movie. But what the movie didn't show you were these losses that these brokers incurred and these houses incurred, and all the compliance officers in the background having absolute nightmares at 2 a.m, can't sleep because they knew their books were just an absolute mess, and they were all over leveraged in one stock, and they knew that if this thing ever blew up, the firm could be at risk. And this is the stuff I was passed on to me from head office in Toronto to now be on top of. So my compliance officer and I, we're busy guys. We rejected more business than we took in, which is insanity, because so many firms took in anything they could get. They just took any player, and they didn't care about the due diligence. We cared about the due diligence because I didn't want to be a debt collector. I wanted to be a manager of brokers who were successful. I didn't want to have this nightmare. Anyway, we're watching the market. We always have to watch the market, and you always have to take the opposite view sometimes of a happy time, and be careful. Now, GameStop is 183.23. I'm a happy guy. It's up 223 or $3 on the day, 184. This is great. I hope the stock takes off and we catch short sellers with their pants down all over the place. Wouldn't that be terrific? Isn't it great to see the stock with 6 minutes to go moving up like this? This is the highest level it's been at for probably 2 hours now, 2.5 hours. Keep going. Just close on a nice high note, please, and take us higher. That would be terrific. After hours, please go up to 200 a share, please. Tomorrow morning, let's start the ball rolling with a real $20 run and keep it. That would be fantastic. But we got to find out and see what happens. It's one day at a time, one trade at a time. Dowie's shout out to Nate, Tanky, Ghazi, and Cody for holding GameStop, Jeers and Booze in the chat for Gibbs being a banker and nacing stock. Okay, there's something in code. Melissa, I know you can't tell us what to do, but hypothetically, if you were to advise about market, would you tell someone to wait on buying stocks or getting out? There's always an opportunity to buy stock. And there always is. And there's always an opportunity to take a profit from time to time. But you've got to limit your mistakes. This is the secret to this market. It isn't how much money you make. It's how much you lose. Because you're going to find a winner. Sooner or later, you're going to have a stock position that's a winner for you. The question is, how many losers have you got in the meantime? And did they offset the wins? Or are they worse than the wins? That's the secret to making money in this business. Everybody has winning trades. Everyone has losing trades. The trick is to have losing trades of a very small nature and have winning trades that just run the gamut for you. That's the secret here, because you're up against other human beings. You're not against a machine. You're not up against a slot machine to try to get a payoff. You're up against human beings that are taking the opposite view of you when you buy a stock. Someone is selling you the stock going, you're an idiot. I'm giving you this paper because I don't have any faith in it anymore. You're saying, no, you're an idiot. I have all the faith in the world in this paper. It's going much higher. You're the moron giving it to me at this price, and I thank you. This is how this works. Sometimes, though, in other areas, like with real estate, you don't have that necessarily kind of adverse relationship, because sometimes somebody got a job transfer and they got to move from Houston to Las Vegas. And they got to sell their Houston house. Someone buys that Houston house and goes, I love this house. I love this neighborhood. This is great. The guy selling it is an idiot. No, the guy selling it took a job offer in Vegas and it got a big fat raise. That's why his house is available. It all comes around. This market is an absolute war between buyers and sellers, and you've got to be on the right side of the trade. HB, thank you for becoming a member of this channel. Also to Lawrence, thank you for becoming a member, and Jaspal, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Nice to have you here. This market, it's a war, and it always has been, always will be. And sometimes you're up against a hedge fund. Sometimes you're trading against a pension fund. And, sometimes there's a seller who's selling not because they hate the stock, but they've done well on it. And they've ridden it to a certain level. They don't want to ride it anymore. And you're the one who's prepared to ride it from here. That's okay. It's like changing escalators, at a multi-level shopping mall. You're just going from one floor to another. That's all you're doing. Others are coming down a floor and then they're getting off at that floor to buy some shoes. So, here at 183.62 on GameStop with 3 minutes to go, 2 minutes to go, stock's up. Some people are happy with this price to sell at. Some are happy to buy it. This is how this game works. And that's the bet. And so there's always a good time to buy stock, but you've got to have the right reasons and the timing and the tolerance and the risk level. Are you made of the right stuff? Because even with all the shenanigans going on and what have you, there are compliance officers who are on top of these accounts and making sure the shysters get taken out. There are bankers that are very, very do lots of due diligence, and they're making sure to avoid problems. And I'm sure that for every loan that's taken, there are 10 or 20 loans rejected because it just doesn't look good for the banker, and they've sent them somewhere else. It's all right. The system works. It does work. And overall, stocks go up and stocks go down. But the real reason shares go up in price from moment to moment, more buyers wanting it than sellers wanting out. That's all it is. And it's sometimes there's 20 sellers, but combined, they only have 5,000 shares for sale. Sometimes there's only one buyer, but they want 100,000 shares. The stock goes up, and yet there's all these sellers and only one buyer, and the stock goes up. Yeah, well, the buyer's a big buyer. Other times there's 20 buyers, 20 sellers, and the 20 buyers want 10,000 more shares than the sellers have got. Other times it's the opposite effect. There's 20 buyers, 20 sellers. The 20 sellers have got 10,000 more shares than the buyers need. The stocks fluctuate based on flow. It's just a flow, and it changes minute to minute, second to second, trade to trade. That's the stock market. 101. That's all it is in plain English. There's nothing more complicated than that. And people are guessing, where do you think the stock's going to go? How many questions do I get every day? Where do you think the market's going? That is the question. Everyone has that all the time. And if you watch CNBC, you're listening to and watching these analysts that are coming out, or hedge fund managers, or pension fund managers, and they're asked as well, and they give you their opinion. But some of these guys give you an opinion over the next 5 years. Some folks give you an opinion over 5 months. Some give you an opinion over 5 minutes. And there could be 3 different answers for each one of these people has a different answer where the market is going, because they have a different outlook on timing, or on risk assessment, or on risk tolerance, or some are income players, some are growth players, some are looking for dividend and growth, some are looking for companies to gain market share and then they grow and profit nicely. Others are playing SPACs, like I recommend to you, where they know this company is a SPAC today, is going to be this company tomorrow. And I'm willing to buy this stock today as a SPAC, knowing that tomorrow or next month, whatever, it's going to be called such and such. And that will be a different company entirely. And I'm prepared to wait for my payoff. That's how this market works. So some of you have a very short views for time frame. Others have all the time in the world. And risk. Here we go. We're done at 180.80. The stock closed down 20 cents. They dropped it $4 at the end of the day to get it to 80.80. Now, will that be the final quote of the day? We don't know. It'll take about 20 minutes to sort that out. Aftermarket, 181.48, up 68 cents on the day. So that's where we're showing right now the stock. Very flat day. 9.8 million shares traded. That's a good sign in a way. Good sign in that 10 million traded, didn't change in price. Meant that there were just as many people interested in getting in as getting out or trading over. Probably half this trading was just turnover, just day traders, in and out all day long. And the other half was legitimate, 5 million wanted, 5 million offered. And that's what we had today. Very quiet day today. Tomorrow's Tuesday, the second last day of the quarter. Wednesday, the last day of the quarter. And we'll see what's going on. Will the company make an announcement before the end of the month for directorships? Or will they wait till the beginning of the next month and make directorship announcements? I wouldn't recommend it on Thursday. That's April 1st. You may want to wait till April 2nd. But hey, up to you. But what's going to happen and how it's going to happen and how it's going to happen and go down, I don't know. AMC closed up 12 cents. It didn't do much of anything today either. 1036. Volume 36 million. Very light. Very light volume for AMC. Vector Acquisitions up 17 cents to 11.85. Navsite Holdings down 3 cents to 10.02, like a flat day here. IPOE down 68 cents to 16.42. Gores Holdings down 82 cents at 13.25, low of the day. That is bargain area there as far as I'm concerned. But I've seen it lower, 11.15 since I mentioned it. It was been as high as 28 and as low as 11, and I still maintain it's a buy at these low levels. It's definitely a buy. So we'll see what's going on. April 2nd is Good Friday as the market closed. We might be. I'm not sure if this is a 4-day week. Would that mean options close on Thursday? We'll watch for that. Where am I? VGAC down 18 cents to 10.12. SVAC Starboard Value down 3 cents to 9.97. Fortress Value down 3 cents to 9.95. Vanek Vector's semiconductor fund was as low as 234.91. and as high as 239.90. So it had a $5 swing today, down 387 on the day to 237. I like it very much, long-term hold. Home Depot down $1.98, IBM down 56 cents, Dow down up 98 points for the Dow. By the way, the S&P was down 3.3, NASDAQ down 79 points. It was a flat burger today. It was a flat burger. Microsoft down $1.24, Apple up 18 cents, Tesla down 7.42 a share, flat. Tesla came back all day long. It was as low as 5.96 in the morning, came back to close at 6.11. And you can see the chart of Tesla here, how it opened here, dropped right off the get-go, and then all day long Tesla came back. But I got to tell you, folks, from 5.96 to 6.11, it's $15 swing on Tesla. that's a nothing burger. I mean, this stock can move $100, 50 up, 50 down in a day. This is very quiet. So just showing you how quiet the market was today. Bed Bath & Beyond down 86 cents. BlackBerry down 39 cents. Royal Caribbean down $1.80. Norwegian down 65 cents. Carnival down 45 cents. So that was what was going on. I think today was a day where a lot of traders wanted to see if a second shoe was going to fall out of the sky and are we going to have any more of these hedge funds get sold out in a hurry with these block trades, or was this Archego, whatever it's called, was this thing a one-off? Was that just a bad managed entity, over-leveraged entity, got caught with their pants down, got blown out? That's the end of it. No more damage to the market. We're okay now. All well. Okay, we're back to normal tomorrow. Is that the case? Find out tomorrow. Same bad channel, same bad time. We're going to see what happens. There you go. That is what's going on here. Every day, another fun thing. Short week with Uncle Bruce. Today sound like a standoff or a game of chicken. It feels like the calm before the storm. Ona need to give Bruce a break for a 3-day weekend so he can recharge his batteries. We'll see what happens. We'll find out. I know some of you sent me a message earlier this morning, and I thank you. Some of you would like to have a one-on-one session with me, and if you do, let me know with a private email. Just send me that. Just send me a one-on-one meeting. I'd like to talk to you about a one-on-one meeting, or when can you slot me in? There's my Hotmail account there. You can send me a private email there. I know I've sent out a few messages today to a couple of you out there who have booked sessions for this weekend and next weekend. I just want to remind those of you if you have you've been offered a time, make sure you get your payment in to lock it in, because there are other people who are contacting me saying, can you get me in earlier? I don't want to wait till May to talk to you. I'd like to talk to you as soon as possible. And Have got a waiting list of people who would like to get in. And there are slots that might open this weekend or next weekend, depending on whether some of you out there have made your payment or not. Because I can only wait so long and then, not just sit here Saturday for an hour wondering, is someone going to join me or not? I have to know. And there are people out here very eager to get in, and I want to make sure I'll let them know. So that's just a courtesy announcement for you. If you can give me the courtesy of letting me know what your intentions are, we will get you looked after. I'm looking forward to this weekend sessions. We've got a bunch of folks lined up already, and the emails just keep coming in that people want to have them. So fantastic, guys! Thank you so much for supporting me and spending some time with me on the weekends regarding these sessions. Wow, interesting. Very calm day all day today, wasn't it? Not a lot happened. 181.74 on the aftermarket for GameStop. Not much going on at this point. And as far as trading activity goes, 5,500 shares traded. There's nothing going on right now in the aftermarket. It's very calm. But that's reflective, I think, of the entire day. Okay, the Bruce is loose, they say. Anyway, what else is going on? Bruce juice, right on. Let's go. Let's go here. Anything else is going on? How do you do the private session? What I do for the private session is about 10 minutes before it begins, I send an email to you, private email, that'll have a link that you click on that will bring you to my channel right here on a private setting that I've established. So I've set up a show just for the two of us on a private setting only. So the only viewers are you and me. And you get a link to your email. You click on that. It brings you right here to StreamYard. And I end up on this side of the screen. You end up on this side of the screen. And it's like a Zoom call. We're just talking back and forth. And I can use this and I can pop up like this kind of a banner while I'm talking to you. Or if you're curious how Jen is doing, I can pop up a photo and show you that Jen and I were out the other night. You can see that. Or I can talk to you about the new poster that's going on with GameStop. I mean, we're just hanging out. And you can show me your portfolio if you want, or talk to me about what your trades are, what you want to do. You can ask me questions about what Ryan Cohen has in mind with the company, or what my thoughts are on GameStop, or you may want to ask me about trading options and how this works. I do a lot of one-on-one explaining how you can write options against your portfolio and how this works and what to look out for. We cover whatever it is you need to know about. I'll ask you a series of questions as well to kind of let me get a handle on your scenario or situation. I want to find out, maybe how old you are, if you're married or not, what are you doing for tax planning, what your job situation looks like, all these things to kind of let me help you figure out where you're at in the world you're in, and then I can kind of, okay, well, based on your scenario, maybe you want to look at this or think about that, and that people always go, I hadn't thought of that. Geez, I hadn't occurred to me. And the other day, I helped an investor out just figuring out a way to reorganize the assets that they had, to find a way to reorganize the existing assets they had. It turns out that I think we found a way for them to get a huge tax refund from the government, a huge amount of money that is just sitting there waiting for them anytime they wanted it, but they didn't know or hadn't thought that, well, if I just made this transaction and that transaction, all of a sudden I got this dough, and that changed everything. And now all of a sudden they're going, man, are you ever worth the money? So if I can do that for any of you, fantastic. Like I say, the sessions are just available for you to, whether you just want to talk to me about, you've got career possibilities, or you have a fork in the road you're coming to and you're not sure what to do and you want someone's opinion. It's a big decision, and you kind of don't want to talk to a relative that has maybe a made-up mind already, and you kind of want to get an outsider's take on whatever it might be. And it could be a very serious series of decisions that need to be done, that you kind of want someone you can just talk to, where I'm never coming to your Thanksgiving dinner to say, did you do that? Or why didn't you do that? I'm not that guy. I'm not that relative. I'm Uncle Bruce that is at your beck and call and will give you his opinion, and you can take it or leave it. So, that's sometimes the way it can go, and it's something exactly what you may want to have. So anyway, there you go. Anyway, yes, thank you all of you who have contacted me already to get together with me, and I've really enjoyed these sessions. They've been fantastic. It's been about a month of these, and it's really been interesting for me. I've really enjoyed it. I know a lot of you have enjoyed it too. Josu Alvarez, thank you for becoming a member of this channel, Josu. I've just noticed that you became a member a little while ago, and I think I missed your notification here, but I just see it up here while I'm yapping away about what's going on. Thank you so much for joining the gang, and welcome to here we are. Here he is right here. Thank you for becoming part of the family. Nice to have you here. Fantastic. There we go. Yes, fabulous, everybody. Thank you for being with me today and hanging out. Let's see what's going to happen. 181 on the GameStop right now. Nothing much taking place in the aftermarket. The final trade on GameStop. Let's see what they're showing it if it was adjusted at all. I noticed AMC was at 1036, and GameStop now is showing 180.80, down 20 cents on the day, even though it was at 184 just a moment or two before that. It had actually come up from a bit of a dip, but neither here nor there. It makes no difference. We'll see how the market performs going forward tomorrow. And like I say, there's a lot of news that I'm waiting to hear about regarding GameStop. Corporate news, and of course the market activities on top of everything else. So lots to watch for. We'll see what happens. All right. Any more? Yeah, be careful. You might become a marriage counselor. Megan, happy Monday, Bruce. Beautiful day over here in Birch Bay. Yapping with Bruce, says Colin. Welcome, Joe Zoo. We love you already. There you go. Fantastic stock. 180.80 for the close. Maybe you can set up cruise dating app, Uncle Bruce's Love Boat, like the 70s show. Oh man. Let's see here. Bruce, that could be taboo, Thanks for the tip on the third bridge GameStop interview tomorrow. Been able to see some screen starts, but not finding anything that verifies outside. That's right. There's an interview tomorrow the company is doing. And I'm not sure if it's a live thing or recorded. Where will it be? We'll keep an eye open for this, and we'll see what's being said. Booze Cruise with gin and Bruce would be so much fun. Smells like 80-year-olds. Oh my gosh. Eduardo R. definitely. Just wrote that one down. Thank you. My mother pushed it down to 180.80 once. Ferrigan Isols. What do we got here? Awesome. Thank you, Bruce and friends. You got it, buddy. Does it seem odd that the price regular seems to close just below 181? Isn't that odd? You kind of get the feeling that the end of the quarter coming up is kind of a big deal for some of these folks out there. They don't want the stock to run away on them. Maybe they're setting it up to not go anywhere and then maybe take a shot at it and have it go down for the end of the first quarter for the print. Don't know. Guys, you'll have to watch this next 2 days. Any thoughts on Royal Caribbean multiple filing Friday after the close? What did they say, actually? Were they talking about future, were they looking at potential raising of additional cash? Is that what's going on here? Let's take a look here. RCCL. Let's take a peek right now. Live. I'll just pop this up right here if I can. I'll try. I'll keep trying. There it is. Hang on. The computer's just being a little twitchy. There we go. And keep trying, Bruce. Third time the charm. Oh my gosh. There we go. Royal Caribbean RCCL used to be a lot easier at one time. It's not that easy anymore. Hang on, folks. I'm having getting too excited here with these symbols. There we go. And I'm going to keep trying. Never a dull moment. Okay, let's go over there and let's try this over here. We're getting, we might be having internet issues, so there might be some glitches going on right here. So bear with us while we try to get everything up and running again. Let's see if I can make this work here this time. Yeah, that's kind of odd. Let's try this. There we go. That would do it. All right, let's try that. I found it. Let's go to the SEC filings for Royal Caribbean the other day and see what we show. We have special events 25th and 24th. Looks like just might be having, was this a filing by hand chance? What do we got? Here we go. Royal Caribbean. Senior notes. They're offering some senior notes, $1.5 billion, 5.5% senior notes. They're going to raise cash, and they went from 1.25 billion to 1.5 billion. So they've had interest for another $250 million from obviously certain investors, and they've decided to take them up on the offer and pick up 1.5 billion in cash instead of 1.25 billion. Now that, keep in mind that Royal Caribbean is burning about 275 million a month to keep their ships floating in the water. That's how much they're burning in cash right now. So this extra 250 million, that's about a month more of life for the company. So this 1.5 billion is probably going to be used to pay off old debt and roll over old debt. It's likely what's going on. My hunch. Anyway, they did another deal here with Azamara. They did an announcement that they finally sold off Azamara, which they had been working on for a while. And they closed that deal for a $200 million deal. And more importantly, by offloading these 3 ships, they no longer have to maintain them in the water anymore, which means that they probably unloaded maybe $5 million a month per ship or $4 million a month per ship in carrying costs to just offload them. So that's, that is a big deal too. And if this, if it takes another 6 months for Azamara to get in the water and sail, they may have walked away from $15 million a month for 6 months of expenses. That's $90 million that they don't have to pay. Plus, they just brought in $200 million in cash to, in effect, that's a $300 million differential. That's what you do as a cruise line. You make these moves. Now, for Royal Caribbean, it makes sense for Royal Caribbean to do this because their fleet for Royal Caribbean itself is a much newer fleet overall, although there are some older ships that they will probably offload in the next few months. But they have new ships coming There's a brand new Oasis class ship coming, the big giant ones. That one, the Wonder of the Seas, I think it's called. And that will be out later this year. And that one's destined, I believe, for the China market. And so by offloading the Azamara brand and bringing in $200 million, this is probably enough cash to put towards that ship for their commitment to fund that ship. And it's, I think, a $1.4 billion build. They'll come up with $200 million cash towards it, borrow $1.2 billion against it, but only make payments once it's in the water, operating in the water. That's usually how these deals are working. The cruise lines have been able to find a way in the last year to renegotiate a lot of their loans for the ships that they've had, especially built in the Europe area. They've had loans that were initiated and put together by the import-export banks of various countries. So Germany, France, Norway, Finland, these governments have literally helped their shipyards with financing of these massive ships, where they say to the cruise lines, go ahead and build your ship at the shipyard. The government will advance money under a loan against the ship. You guys put up 10% of the money and we'll put up 90, or you put up 20%, we'll put up 80. But you don't have to make a payment to us until you receive the ship in your hands after sea trials, everything else. Only then do you have to make payments. And even then, the government has said, let's delay the first year's payments entirely because of this COVID thing. So we'll delay payments until after COVID, and we'll just add the amount that you would have paid us in interest and whatnot to the end of the loan. We'll just extend the loan. Instead of making a 10-year loan or a 15-year loan, we'll make it a 17-year loan or a 12-year loan. We'll just make it longer because the ship hasn't worn down in 2 years. It's just sitting there with skeletal crew to keep everything running. So we'll just extend the loan over a longer time frame, and then you defer your payments until the last 2 years, and we'll play it that way. And so the countries are showing the cruise lines, we're there with you, and they're showing the shipbuilders, we're there for you. You don't have to lay off these employees and put them on unemployment. Keep them employed. Keep building these ships. We know this COVID will eventually go away, and you'll still be building ships 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now. But we'll get you through this moment in time where everything is shut down. And the same thing is being offered probably to all the suppliers of materials for all the parts, the subcontractors. They are being backed by these governments as well, especially in the European Union. This is why shipbuilding is still alive and well in Europe, but it's dead in the water in the United States. There's no way any cruise line would ever consider building a $1 billion cruise ship in America, because you can build a ship in Europe with 20 countries of subcontractors delivering pieces of that ship in there, duty-free, without any royalties or taxes and what have you, because they're part of the EU, the European Union. So parts in Italy, parts in Spain and Portugal and Germany and the Netherlands and Belgium, all these parts are manufactured at subcontractors' factories, all shipped to the shipbuilder in Finland or in Germany or in France for final assembly, or Italy even. And the ships get built, and the home country where that shipyard is finances the whole thing. And so that means the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Danes, the others who are part of the EU, they're all assured of payment for their services and for their work by the banker, which is the country that the shipbuilding yard is in. And this is how this whole thing works over there. Where in the United States, it's all the wild, wild west. You've got contractors all over the U.S. dealing with the main contractor to produce products, and then those parts get sent to wherever the shipyard is in the USA. You have to hire unionized workers at unbelievable rates, and a $1 billion ship to be built in Finland will run $1.8 billion in America because of all of the protocols and the union contracts. The ports are all controlled by the union operator. And so it's practically impossible to build a ship in the U.S. that can work. And the cruise lines, they know they're just building a ship for a third country. It's going to be in the Canary Islands, or the ship will be registered in Bermuda or the Cayman Islands or the Bahamas. It's not going to be registered as a U.S. ship anyway, so there's no need to build it in the United States. If you want to sail a ship from Miami to New York and back to Miami, it's got to be a U.S. built ship, staffed by U.S. staff, and you don't want to. They're not going there because they can't afford it, because you guys can take a trip out of Miami for 1 week on a Carnival ship for maybe $600 a person, $800, $1,000 a person, all in, drinks, everything, where on an American staffed and crewed ship, that same 1 week will run you $2,500. You can't afford it because the staff have to be paid U.S. benefits and wages and everything else, whereas these existing cruise ships are staffed by people from around the world, and they're not under U.S. Worker law, and that's why you get such a deal on a cruise ship. And of course, you want to go into an all-inclusive vacation, drinks included. You're not going to U.S. all-inclusives. There's almost none, almost non-existent. Where are they? Mexico, Dominican Republic, and a whole bunch of other Caribbean islands where the locals are working for a lot less money than they would get if they were in the United States. Hence, your vacation is so affordable down there. That's how the game works. So anyway, there's my take on that. Jake, thank you for this donation. Very generous of you. Hey, Bruce, can we do a cheaper and shorter help session, which is in my price range? You see, really great. You see, really great in the comedy, but I still need paying for your service. If we could work something out, email. Can you cut your prices, Bruce? I know you're booked up to here with your Saturdays are booked up. Your Sundays are booked up. You have the odd person cancel and you slip someone else in, but could you cut me a deal? Because, I can't afford it. Gee, Jake, I don't know if I can help you with that. But you're getting a lot of advice here for nothing. I'm telling you, before you leave us today, tell us something about yourself, Bruce. What's the key to success? Jake, I think I've been telling a lot of stories about myself on this channel, and you've been listening in, but I tell you, I love these donations. I really appreciate that very, very much.
You have to watch How to Get Ahead in Business.
How to Get Ahead in Business.
That's one of the second photos of his shoulder.
It's true. What was the actor who played that? You remember that, guys? Wasn't he?
Yeah, maybe James Wood or something.
Wasn't he the guy in that was Wesley Snipes, the guy who played Wesley Snipes on 30 Rock?
No. This is quite. You talk. I'll Google.
She'll Google. Jen is Googling something for you guys. There you go. No, that's a clever man, so Sharon. Anytime, man. Hey, Bruce, have you ever heard of Tom Kalinske? I don't follow CEOs too much, but he's an interesting character. Flintstones, Vitamins, He-Man, Sega Genesis saved Hot Wheels and Barbie from being scrapped. The name itself doesn't ring a bell with me, but maybe I've heard of him in a way in the past. I don't know. Swirler, thank you for this generous donation tonight. Saw Bruce for a one-on-one several weeks ago. Great session. Very informative. Good news is the doctor assures me the rash will go away. All joking aside, thanks again, Bruce. You got to stop scratching that spot. That's the problem with you. If you stopped scratching it, you wouldn't have that thing. But you wouldn't listen to me. So you went to your doctor. Okay, well, I did all I could for this guy.
Okay, it's How to Get Ahead in Advertising.
How to Get Ahead in Advertising is the name of the movie. 1989 British black comedy.
Starring Richard E. Grant and Rachel Ward.
Richard E. Grant and Rachel Ward. Wasn't Rachel Ward? She's a very good-looking babe in her day. Wasn't she in? You remember her other roles? Rachel Ward. She was in.
Stuff.
Oh God, she was really something in that time. Was she with not Dudley Moore, but Rachel Ward? Look her up. Yeah, she's got to look up Rachel Ward for me. But yeah, how to get ahead in advertising. There's an advertising executive that all of a sudden gets a second head coming up, who starts as a pimple and turns into a full blown head, starts talking, and eventually takes him over.
No spoilers.
It's crazy. It's a dark comedy. That's very true. Rachel Ward. Waiting for Jen and Rachel Ward.
English-born Australian actress.
English-born Australian actress.
Thornbirds, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. That's where I remember her from. She starred with Steve Martin in Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, and she was hilarious in that show. Very, 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 very attractive, but very good actress too. Very funny. Yeah, Rachel Ward. Patrick, I live in a cruise ship building city. The Meyer Werft in Papenburg is the largest indoor shipbuilding yard. Yeah, I have made videos of Papenburg. I've had them in my Traveling with Bruce channel, and some of these aerial photos of this place. Mind-numbing how big this entire place is. Massive, absolutely massive. Phenomenal place. I would love to see it someday. I'd love to be there one day. Oh, Rachel Ward is a lady in red, once married to Steven Seagal, who has a knee replacement. Very interesting. Yep. So she was active in the 80s and the 90s. That's where I remember seeing her. But Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid is where I absolutely loved her performance for sure. Yeah. Steven Seagal is the greatest actor of all time, says Waffle. Very interesting. I always liked how cool he was, how controlled rage, I like that. Yeah, it's kind of like me, I'm like that, I can throw a knife. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we're like this. You can't tell the difference between me, except that I'm 4'8" and he's 6'15". There's a couple little slight physical differences. I'm very short. He's very tall. But oh yeah, we're same demeanor. Oh yeah. I mean, the way he acts is the way I am. That's so cool. Yeah. You don't want to mess with me in the kitchen of the USS Independence or Missouri. What was the name of that destroyer that he was a cook at? You remember they had those terrorists try to take over the ship, and he was a lowly cook, but he had been a special operations guy, and then he systematically wipes these guys out one by one by one. That's me all over. And of course I always get the girl. Because, Jen's right here, I mean, Jen would have been the girl. She would have been the girl coming out of that birthday cake. That would have been Jen for sure. Trying to make a few extra bucks on the side earlier.
That's the only character for a woman you could possibly have on a naval ship.
That's right. It's the only role that you could have for a woman on a naval ship. The only possible role in a movie was a girl coming out of the cake. Of course, that makes sense. And of course, in Jen's early days, those have been the movie roles that she would have done. I mean, every actress starts out doing something, But I got the girl. What can I say? Jake, oh my God. I just love Bruce. I'm poor. All in. We'll start a GoFundMe for Jake. I can afford $100, Bruce. That's all I got. Michael, copied and pasted, but I would rather do that to Bruce. It was it was his board, and I shall always honor that. Oh, well, thank you. Wally, life can only be understood backwards, but I must be lived forwards. That's true. Jake, Zoom mail call, Zoom class call, multiple pay. I'd be willing. It would be cheaper per person. Maybe I should get 20 of you to give me $500 each, and I can just score 10 grand in an hour, and I can take like a month off. Would you guys willing to do that? No. Oh, dang it. Darn it. I'm trying to find a quick buck here. Anyway, Bruce, are you a cop too in your free time like Seagal? Wait, he is the one that swatted you. Or is he the one that swatted me? I don't know. Steven Seagal, he's a phony, says John Van. Erica, come out of the cake from Baywatch fame. Erica Elaniak, that was the gal's name that came out of the cake in that movie. Bruce is like Bruce Willis in Die Hard. Well, that too. Welcome to the party, pal. That could be me. Jake Wallace, I'm just kidding. Sounds like a great deal, says Johnny. Love you, Bruce. Keep up the work, man. Jake, you just donated 8 minutes of that hour with your cash donations. You just gave him 8 minutes, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. If Steven Seagal was in the UFC, he would be undefeated, says Wizard Owl. Women in Red is Kelly LeBrock, married to Steven Seagal. I know who that is.
Yeah.
She wasn't she in Weird Science? She was in Weird Science. Yeah, she was pretty good. That was a good movie. Wally's World, you and me, brother, says Waffle. Jake's laughing. Alan, what happens Wednesday when the Federal Reserve turns off the faucet to the markets? I don't know if that's going to happen. Under Siege, was that the name of that movie with the destroyer? Yeah, I like that. I like how he took care of the guys in the kitchen pretty good. Yeah, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. That's true. It is. Waffle Report. I call my friend Raptor Breath. Oh, okay. Erica was nice in that movie. She looked all right. Anytime Bruce grabs Subway. Oh, okay, Jake. I got my Steven Seagal ponytail from Dr. Disrespect. You got Jen Chartlin over here. 30-minute session for $200 on weekdays and a 1-hour session for $400 on the weekend. Can you at least give it a thought, please? Oh my gosh. I can't do a half-hour session. It's impossible. Once the niceties out of the way, it's just too impersonal to just get right into something. You gotta relax, and I always go long anyway. I always go an extra 10 minutes anyways. The hour turns into an hour and 10, hour and 15. It's always very loosey goosey. There's no hard schedule. I put four appointments together in like 6 hours to try to do it. And it's pretty cool. It works really well. But 1 hour, it's got to be the way. It's just got to be really the way to do it. Thanks for introducing me to him, Wally. I think it's funny. Die Hard is so old. The terrorists were stealing stocks and bond papers. That's right. They were picking up bonds in the vault, actual documents. That's how old that movie is. That's right. And these actors who played in this movie, some of these actors have died of old age and other causes. Of course, Rickman just passed away a few years ago. Unfortunately, he was 69, I think, Alan Rickman. And it was shocking, but he passed away. And then the guy with the long blonde hair, Rickman's brother. What was his name? There was Hans Gruber. That was Rickman's character. And then there was this other guy, Gruber. He was a Gruber. He was his brother.
He was the conductor in Money Pit.
That's right. He was the conductor in Money Pit. The guy with the long blonde hair that Bruce Willis had the big fight scene with at the end of the movie. He was the conductor in Money Pit. He's hilarious, but he died a young man. He died of, I think, alcohol poisoning. He was an alcoholic, unfortunately, and I think he died in the 90s, something like that. But he had a bit of a career there for a while, but unfortunately, it didn't last. 7-minute stocks with Bruce, right on. Nicolas Cage in Anything Is Gold. Don't overact ever. He's just so reserved. I can't believe I'm not in that movie. Bearer Bonds, Switzerland. That's right, Bearer Bonds. Sitting on a beach, earning 20%. That's right. That's right. Bruce is a talker. He needs the full hour. That's right. I can't shut up. The bad guy was great. Waffle Raptor, I don't know what that means. We'll all be has-beens one day. I'm sure sooner or later we'll all be has-beens. Peter Gutenoff, Peter, that was probably his name, yeah. Das Boot, another winning movie. There you go. Rest in peace, Alan Rickman. That's right. I love that. I loved Hans Gruber, the character Hans Gruber. It was beautiful. It was so well done. He definitely stole that show in a way. Raising Arizona is Cage's best work. He was a ballet dancer. That's right. The bad guy in what?
In Raising Arizona, they stole the child.
Well, that's Nicolas Cage's movie. Nicolas Cage. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. That's the age I'm aiming for. Yeah, my session went like an hour and 15 minutes. You wouldn't stop. You guys see way too many movies. Oh my gosh, what can I say? Of course, I'm 65. I've had time. I've had time to watch a few. If we're lucky, let's see here. It's all over Hans. It's all over Hans. There's enough people throwing $5 for Jake. Can he have an hour? Who's willing? Do you breathe, Bruce? This is what I want to do. Says observe thyself. Oh, I forgot to thumbs up. Hey, that's right. How are we doing for thumbs up? Are you guys giving me thumbs ups? Or are you just hanging around for free? We're not giving me anything here. 1,800 measly thumbs ups. 2,200 still here. I have 1,800 measly thumbs ups for almost a 2-hour delivery. Unbelievable how hard I work for how little I get. But it's all right. Carl was his name. Yes, Carl Gruber. And then there was Hans Gruber and Karl. Yes. And then he killed his baby brother, didn't he? Yeah. What was the baby brother's name? Anybody know who that guy was? That was the guy that he killed going down the stairs. You remember who that guy was? I remember that guy's name. That's right. Alexander Goodenough is the name of that guy. Donate to get Jake his hour. Alex Goodenough. Josh, you made me smile. Bruce, slices for sale. Alexander Goodenough. That's right. We're doing a fractional trading for Jake. Fractional funding. The problem is that you got to fund Jake through PayPal. You can't fund him through here. If you fund him through here, YouTube takes 30% off the top. That's no good. Again, it's got to go through YouTube. Got to go through PayPal. We got to fund Jake through PayPal. Poor Jake. Is a Sitting Bull, Starboard Value Acquisitions, Zyxtra Data Center, co-location, and DR services, cloud related, on sale for $997 for some stock right now, or $9.97 a share on sale. Bruce slices, I'll buy, says Aaron. Jake, I work at Bingo Call. I want to be successful. My parents didn't teach me. I'm aiming for the stars. Under the B, 14. Oh, man. Jake. Oh, my gosh. Hopes, dreams, and aspirations to get out of the bingo hall. Way to go, buddy. The key is to buy the bingo hall. That's the secret right there. Learn to run it, manage it, and then find a way to buy it and run it. I've had more than a year to watch movies, says Johnny Dangerously. Cinema with Bruce and Jen. Wally's World, couldn't agree more. Wally's Cody, Miles, patience, and perseverance. You'll get your answer. It might take a couple more tries. Never give up. Ryan Cohen didn't think, Chewy. Idyllic memories last forever. A conundrum, says Michael. Awestruck, says Simon. Where are my detonators? That's right. Where are my detonators? That is right. That is right. Sorry, I forgot the thumb. Lady, hardcore DD's in the house. City Bills Extra also has security clearance for government data and contracts. They're going to do well. Drew's throwing thumbs ups here. SPAC, NSH, Spire Global Data, Satellite Data Services, Weather Global Tracking, only $10.02. I know. These are bargains. These SPACs are absolutely on super sale here. They are not going to be here much longer, but don't worry. They won't be here much longer. Carl and Hans weren't brothers. Are you sure they weren't? Oh, that's right. Hans was Hans Gruber. Carl had a brother who Bruce Willis killed down the stairs when he went down the staircase. That's right. It was Carl's little brother that got killed by Bruce Willis. That's why Carl wanted to get him. Hans and him were buddies. They were old crooks together over the years. That's what it was. All right. See, you guys know this stuff. And that's why I love it. I love this stuff. I always... It's a Christmas movie. I always hit like near the end of the show because Bruce wants it more than... Thank you, damn it, Jim. Andy, doctor said I had some kind of special memory, but I forgot what it was. That's right. It was a special short kind of memory. I'll never forget the doctor's name. What was his name again? Yeah, I'll never get what's his name. Initial, Bruce, can I pay you for a minute of your time just yell a stock ticker at me as soon as the video chat starts? Connect me in for the chat and just yell IBM and then shut the show off and leave. And there it is. There's your 1 second. I'll just pay you for like a minute of your time. If I could do 400 of those in a row, I'd make $400 an hour. The core problem is it'll take me more than an hour to set up and shut down each show. So I'm losing money on the deal. I got to charge you like quadruple the rate. Jake, Bruce will be my war chant. Carl Jr., you're thinking of Die Hard 3. Can you consider doing 24-hour marathon shows anytime soon? Oh, my gosh. Alan, Bruce, the Federal Reserve is what? Yes, Mike, I forgot about that, and there's a very big deal. Good point. Hans and Simon Gruber. Daniel, if you want to sell a stock you owned at a specific price and had 100 shares, would you just sell it? Or if you don't mind holding it for a while, would you sell a covered call at the same price? Well, you see, there you have it. If you own 100 shares and you're going to hold it a while anyway, why don't you offer a covered call either at the price you're at, if you're happy getting that price, or up 10% higher or $3 or $4 a share higher? It all depends on the stock, obviously. I mean, if you hold GameStop at 180 right now and you have 100 shares, you can offer a $180 call or a 185 or a 190, good for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month or however long you want. Every Friday they go out. And then take a premium. And if you get taken out, you get taken out. You get the price of the contract plus the premium up front. And maybe you get $20 a share for a 220 call, good for 2 weeks. And if you get taken out, you're getting taken out at 240. Well, you're in there at 180, get taken out at 240. Is it wrong with a $60 profit on a $180 position? I don't know what's wrong with that. 33% of your money in like 2-3 weeks. You could do that if that happens. On the other hand, if you offer it at 180 right now, where the stock is, you might get a $50 premium for 2 weeks. You're still getting $230 a share if you get taken out at 180. You could write a 170. Maybe you can get $60 for that. So you write a 170 for this Friday or next Friday. You're in the money. You're hoping to be taken out, and you got your $60 premium plus the 170 price. You're getting taken out at 230. Maybe you'll play that game. I don't know. Eduardo, yippee-ki-yay. A theme from the 80s t-shirt. That's it. Steven, I got one meeting for 20 minutes and I missed the whole Die Hard talk.
Well, he came in on the end. Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
He came in at the end. Yeah, there it is. Oh my gosh. I got into one meeting and I missed it. Sitting Bull agreed. Bruce is my man, says Jake. Oh gosh, I always get a kick out of watching the scene where the cop goes into the convenience store and he buys the Twinkies. You know, it's for his wife. Yeah, right. Yeah, and he comes out of the store because he gets a call to go to the Nakatomi Tower. And he walks out of the store and he looks down the street at the Nakatomi Tower, way down the street. But there's a mobile gas station. There's a sign telling you how much gas is. I always get a kick out of seeing how much gasoline was in 1980. Was that a 1983 movie? 84? I think it was 89 cents a gallon or 84 cents a gallon for gas in 1984. And I was thinking a couple of years ago when oil had gone way up, and in the U.S. you guys are paying $3 a gallon, $4 a gallon, thinking gas is only 84 cents at that time. And now, today, some of you guys in Texas, you had prices as low as 189, 169 here in 2021, 2020. Inflation adjusted, that's less than what gas was back in 84. It just kills me. It's amazing. Anyway, you have to check it out. What's your favorite movie, Bruce? I have many, but one of my favorites is a movie called My Favorite Year. If you ever watch that one, that's a movie about a young guy working in television in 1954. He's a writer wannabe. He's like a junior writer on a variety show. It's kind of like a Sid Caesar comedy hour, and he's the junior writer, and he's the up and comer. The kid is up and coming, and it's all about the behind the scenes shenanigans of a weekly variety show. Where the lead guy, the Sid Caesar guy, is insane. He's just so stressed out, and then he's driving his staff crazy. The writers are going nuts. Then they have a guest on that week, which is Peter O'Toole, I believe it is. In real life, it's Peter O'Toole, but the actor is a swashbuckling hero from the 50s, like an Earl Flynn kind of guy, a drunk, and the young kid is told to watch the swashbuckling hero for the whole week and make sure he shows up at every rehearsal and shows up for the live show. And there's all kinds of shenanigans. The one-liners in this movie are just my favorite thing about this whole movie. So Jen and I are constantly throwing one-liners back and forth at each other from this movie in every situation in our lives. And I just adore that movie. So that's got to be one of my favorites of all time. But it's probably, most of you probably have never seen it. You probably have never seen it. And if you watch it the first time, you'll miss half the lines because they come so fast, because you have to watch the line and watch the reaction on the face of the one who's getting the line or delivering the line to the other character. There's just so much in this movie. It is just hilarious. And it's a sleeper of a movie. I love it. So it also comes with a 1/6 warrant. That's true, Sitting Bull. You're promoting that stock, all right. Bingo, says Johnny Dangerously. Bruce is doing it admirably, carrying us through a day when there's no action on the stock. Make Bruce laugh. $2 super sticker. Michael, thank you. Michael, that was for Jake. Jake, need to learn how to spell for Jake. Need to learn how to spell. Jake, I want to adopt you now. Wally's word. Michael Keaton, very underrated actor. I love Michael Keaton in Multiplicity. I love Michael Keaton as he's Batman. He's Batman. I am Batman. That's Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton has had some fantastic roles, fabulous movies. There was one movie with the actor that used to be the guy in Mad Men, the John Hamm, and John Hamm, and it starred Goldie Hawn's daughter. What's her name? Is her last name Hawn? No, she's Goldie Hawn. Kate Hudson. That's right. She's named after her father. Kate Hudson and John Hamm and Michael Keaton are in this movie, along with Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David. Larry David, all about the electric car called the Harvey, I think it is. Funny movie. I just love that movie. Hilarious. You ever get the chance? Michael Keaton in that movie, pretty good. He has a small role. Hilarious. And also he has on Stefan, his partner is Stefan, who plays Stefan on Saturday Night Live. Bill Hader. Yeah. Bill Hader and Michael Keaton are partners in this. It's a laugh fest, just a laugh fest. Anyway, thank you. Love everyone, says Jake. When this stock hits 88, you're going to see some serious poop. Wally's World, Cody Miles. I don't know what we're trying. Type, listening, and eat all at the same time. I don't know what's going on here. Austin, so true. Bruce made my boring day market fun. I got 11 minutes to kill with you guys. Charlie, Steven Seagal refused to appear in a movie with Chuck Norris due to the fear of being beat up. Hans Gruber's brother was in Die Hard 3. You see, there you go. There was his brother. Sitting Bull, it really seems like the various SPACs and other stocks have had their cash registers rung to pay for the great shorts war by various hedge funds. Laughing. Yippee-ki-yay, Yahoo Duty. Cody Miles, Jeremy Irons, Jake, NSH got into some investigation this morning by lawyers. That's not a good sign. This happens with every deal. Every deal is being investigated by lawyers. It means nothing. The lawyers are looking for publicity for new clients. That's all they're doing. They're riding the back of a public company to try to get exposure. That's all this is. T-Bone, Uncle Bruce, tell Uncle Jen, I want bagels with Bruce mousepad. That's what I want. I want to get a mousepad with Uncle Bruce on. Save me, Obi, Bruce Kenobi. You're my only hope. I take a phone call and come back to Die Hard chat with Bruce. Best day of all time, says DQ. This is the best day. JJ is laughing. That's a good one. Laughing out loud. Everyone's having a good time. I don't swear, but this oil price is, crazy. Laughing. Pillow covers with various bagels on them. That's what we need right now. Dying, laughing. Best one yet. Just talk amongst yourselves. I don't think I could ever leave this stream. And Amnesia, just give them your number and yell it fast. Just yell it like the camera, then off it goes. Bruce, YouTube ALG is about to find you. Algorithms, you can never go wrong with covered calls, especially now. Charlie, Bruce is going to retro 80s by starting his own 1-900 line, charging for stock tips by the minute. Hello. This is Movie Phone. Welcome to Movie Phone. Tell me the name of the movie you want to see, or type in the name of the movie you want to see. You've chosen Brown Eyed Girl. No, just tell me the name of the movie you want to see. That's Kramer on Seinfeld. Oh, I love that. Jake, hey Bruce, does your gut say 208,000 repeat or more? Don't just say. Just say. Well, it could be. We could be in for 2008 something. I don't know. There could be something brewing here. I don't know. I don't know. 181 in GameStop. It's not going anywhere right now. Not tonight. If Hans were a real person, would he be you Gruber? I said about YouTuber. You get it? Sitting Bull, just stay away from the options. If you're working the squeeze play, you cannot outsmart the hedge funds, maybe helping them. Most expire worthless. But if you're a writer, if you write a contract against a 100-share position or a 1,000-share position, you offer stock at 220 on an exercise, and you can bring in 30 or 40 bucks in premium. You might want to take that kind of money. That might be good free money. I don't know. Andrew, oh yeah, I made the money on the market easy. You know how much this damaged my health, 100-hour days and stuff. Michael, not for public consumption, as I do not know. My first question was regarding EEIQ Class AB shares. When you have the time, consider the question and inform your thoughts on that. I am long. EEIQ. What the heck is that? EEIQ. What is that? Elite Education Group International is the name of this thing. High and low, 358 low, $35 high. My God, you can drive a truck through that. 7.9 million shares outstanding and very little info about it. And where does it trade? NASDAQ. It's a NASDAQ stock. No idea what to make of this. That's a wide range, and it's like just been listed. It's like brand spanking new. What's going on here with this thing? I don't understand it. Last week, I don't understand this. I have no comment on that. No idea. And you could get regular gas, says Andy. Back in the day, you could get regular gas. Donna, Uncle Bruce, are they selling large quantities in the aftermarket, but the price is still 180? I seem worried. Doesn't look like it. 59,000 shares traded. Nothing going on. Nothing. It's a quiet night. I never knew Canada could be so much fun, says John McLean, Die Hard 3. Laugh out loud. The RCMP plot only has a 38 snub-nose revolver. It's enough for John to take out Simon. Odds and evens license plates, 1973. AB in a chopper. Andrew, they just found plastic in a caveman age site. I said we weren't the first advanced civilization on Earth. Plastic. Peter O'Toole was great in my favorite year. He sure was. He was absolutely hilarious in my favorite year. And so was the actor in my favorite year, the young guy who was the writer. What was his name? Yeah. He played Balky in that Perfect Strangers. You remember the TV show Perfect Strangers? He played Balky. Was it Balky or was the other guy Balky? The other guy played Balky. What was his name? He wasn't Balky. He was the Chicago. That was in Chicago, wasn't it? That show, because they had a scene where they were trying to hang on to a pole because it was windy. But he, I don't remember the actor. I don't know him from anything else. He was in Perfect Strangers, and he was in this movie, and I don't recall him in anything else. I don't have anything on him, but he was hilarious in this movie. And Peter O'Toole, fantastic in this movie. But so was Bill Macy, and the actors who were all the actors in that movie were brilliant. Brilliant comedy actor. Andrew, archaeologists find 2,000 pieces of plastic at Iron Age site. Ashley Strickland, profile image by Ashley Strickland. Okay. Michael, I kind of like getting him into the Greek. Why are we here? Plastic, George Carlin said. Through this mist, he came on a camel, wondering if it were a mirage. Turns out it was Omar Sharif, still alive. Waffle, that sounds hilarious. I will watch. Michael, always the Ritsuli remains, the wind and the lion. You must see Michael Keaton and Johnny Dangerously. He did a good role on that. He also was in what's the other movie he was in with oh man, your favorite movie, Hunt for Red October. The lead actor was not the sub commander, but the CIA guy. Alec Baldwin was in this movie with Basinger and Michael Keaton, where Michael Keaton came to life. That's not Johnny Dangerously. In that haunted house, what was it? Remember that? She's got nothing. Anybody helping me here? A Beetlejuice. One of my viewers is helping me. Not Jen. You. That's right. She's just lying there going, what are you talking about? He was great in that movie too. Mr. Mom, another good movie for Michael Keaton. Yeah. Multiplicity. Absolute classic. Multiplicity. If you haven't seen Multiplicity, you stop everything right now. Watch My Favorite Year. Watch Multiplicity. Then go back to your lives. You'll see how good he was. What was the title, guys? Yeah, we had Kate Hudson. The answer was Bruce's Batman. Anybody remember the name of that movie with John Hamm, Kate Hudson, and who was Seinfeld's partner again? Larry David. What was the name of that movie? That was so funny. So good. Bill Hader was in there. Michael Keaton is amazing in everything. What movie, says Ryan? Michael Keaton in Pacific Heights was like a hedge fund shorting. Damn it, Jim. Gung Ho, when the factory was going to be shut down. I remember that, the Gung Ho movie. That was his best work. Clear History. The Birdman was another great movie. John Hamm is so dreamy, says James. Jake, smile at Mr. Keaton. What do you think of Bitcoin? You know, it's funny. My finance guy was saying it's something I may want to consider. I need a Stefan movie. What was that? To exist. I need a Stefan movie to exist. Let's see here. What else we got here? You must have loved Caddyshack, Bruce. I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was kind of too silly. Anyway, all in on IPOE with 150 shares. I think I want to make the world a better place. Hey, question, gold drops when Bitcoin goes up. Should it be buying gold? I don't think so. What's important about the quarter end on Wednesday? What's about the quarter? Well, the quarter is ending, and there might be some shenanigans going on with the stock prices. A lot of adjustments will be made to a lot of portfolios, including index funds. There could be a lot of buying coming in for GameStop on the last day, on the last hour of Wednesday, because index funds are going to need to recalibrate, mutual funds and other index funds. We'll see. There could be a lot of shenanigans all over the place. Tough Guys, 1986. Let us rob the bank, guys. Rob the bank. Oh, Cray, you're canceled. Once I see my attendees, Dell against we or sell like Dell. I don't know what that means. This is why drinking is bad. Stone drunk typing does little if it's desired. Let's go.
2013 movie called Clear History.
Clear History. 2013 movie called Clear History with Larry David, John Hamm, Kate Hudson, Bill Hader, and a number of other actors you'll recognize. A good crew of actors. Really funny. Jake Wallace, do a quick summarize of GameStop throughout the day before you end the stream. I've done it. Time's up. We're down. We have no time left. I'm done, man. I'm not talking anymore. Clear History is the name of the movie. That's correct. Beetlejuice. I watched the first half of Multiplicity at a friend's house and had to shut it off to go somewhere. He convinced me he saw it before, and there's a scene where he has to shoot his clones. Laugh out loud. He lied. Michael, we'll see you tomorrow. You bet. Hey, Bruce, did you get a chance to look at the SPAC? No. In Latin word for left-hander is sinister. I don't know what that means. I love Larry David. Me too. Bruce, Super Troopers 2 has some good riffs between Americans and Canadians. Clear History, starring Larry David, Bill Hader, John Hamm. Hilarious movie. Jake is laughing. You are the best, man. I'm not talking anymore. Here, go, Bruce. Chill. Go chill. That's it. I'm going to go and do 2 more live shows, but I'm going to go on the other channel now. So I'm going to do a live show for sponsor members only on Traveling with Bruce at 7 o'clock Eastern. And at 8 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to do a live show. Anyone can join tonight at 8 o'clock. It's open to the public. Traveling with Bruce. Talk about cruise ships. So if you want to hang out with me again tonight, I got 2 more shows just on the other channel. Come on over there. Otherwise, on this channel, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 1 hour before the opening. See what's going on with this market. And keep an eye open for alerts at any time. I did an alert today for all you new members. I did an alert today. Keep your eye open. There's a hot picture of Jen and me in that alert too. I don't know if you noticed it. But thank you all for joining me today and hanging out. Appreciate it very much. Not much going on at the end of the day here. 180, 175 right now in the aftermarket for GameStop. It's very quiet. And what can I say? There it is. See you all later, guys. Thank you. Catch me on the other channel or see you tomorrow. They're saying. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Uncle Bruce. Have a good night. And Ford Motor is now doing the same thing. 900 million factory shipped to Mexico. Delphi still lives. Still tomorrow. Good night, everybody. 8 p.m. plus 6 hours. 2 a.m. Won't make it. Please forgive me. Eduardo, it's all good. Marlo, take care now. Bye, people. Godspeed. Bye, Bruce. See ya. I'll be there at 8 p.m. Bruce, I'll be there. Just Paul saying, see you tomorrow night. Later, apes. Says Isaac. Thank you, everybody. All right, I'm out of here. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, an hour before the market, or we'll see you at TWB in a little while. Bye for now.